Hi, this is another iOS tutorial, and today I will be going over table views and navigation controllers. So let's just jump right into this. This is a table view. It's a table view controller. There's two options. You can have a table view and put it inside a view controller, or you can have a table view controller. And the table view controller only contains one table view and only contains that table view. And basically it looks like this when I run this program. Here is your table view. Okay, you've got all these cells, and you can put whatever content you want into the cells. And I've also added a nav controller. So what that is, it is this little bar at the top will give me a back button. So it gives me an easy way to transition between different views. When I seg, I can automatically go back to my first view. Now, first let's look at the code of how we implement this. If you haven't seen it yet, make sure you watch the pointers and type ID video and the delegates protocols method, because table view uses the same delegation pattern that we went over in that video. And basically how you do this is you make your table view controller the delegate of your table view. And when you do that, the table view controller is an object, and that object has to implement the correct protocols. So it's going to be the delegate of that table view, and it's going to be the data source of that table view. And if we go to our storyboard and we check this over here, you'll see here there's that connection. So you have to make sure that connection is also there, or else your code won't work. And there's a whole bunch of optional methods, and you can customize the table view in various ways. But the kind of mandatory methods are usually cell for row at index path. And what this does is, for a given index path, it returns a cell. So basically every time the table needs a cell, it will go call this method in your delegate, which is our table view controller in this case, and it will ask it to return a cell. And it'll send back the index path, which is basically what is the position in the table that the cell is. Is it the second cell, third cell, etc.? You can get it from this index path argument. And then from there, you use this dequeue reusable cell with identifier for index path, and then you configure the text of the cell, and you return it. Okay? Now this ID right here, you'll notice when you get a table view and you get a prototype cell, if you go to this, you can make an identifier. So what this allows you to do is you can design 3 or 4 different types of cells, and you can call them, identify them by the identifier. So every time it wants a cell, maybe if it contains certain content, I want the label to be bigger, or I want there to be an image with this kind of content, and you can do that, and you can have tables with multiple kinds of cells in them. So that's the idea behind that. And if you look at here, the other two, they're easy. Number of sections in table view. So that's typically, that usually means, in this case we have one, because I just want one section, but you can have multiple sections, and you can give them names. You can go as far as you want. And then you want the number of rows in section. So the table view has to know how many rows are in it, basically, before you do it. And here, what I have done to fill the table, a lot of times you're filling it from arrays. So I just made a sample array, my table data, and then I added these words to the data, to the array, first, second, third. Okay, and then to illustrate kind of how index path works here, this cell that I dequeued from with this identifier, I get this cell. Okay, this is a pointer, if you remember. It now points to this object of this type, and then the text label of that object, and then the text, and we set that equal to the string in our array for that row, for that given row. So that's how it works. That's how this data ends up in this table. So, and the other thing I wanted to go over briefly was the navigation controllers. Now, that nav controllers are actually very easy. If you just click to implement them, you can just click here and select this view controller, and you can hit editor, embed in Navigation Controller, and that will work. The other thing you have to remember is I have a seg tied to this cell. And when you do it, you have to make sure it's a push seg because navigation controllers work like a stack. So basically, when you go to the next view, it pushes this view on top of the old view. So it's like a stack. And then when you want to go back, it pops it off the stack and you have your old view back at the table. Functionally, that's how it works behind the scenes. So there's a whole bunch of optional methods, and to find these, you can look online. They're called data source and delegate. So this will tell you various ways on how you can customize your table, and there's a lot you can do. So the data source typically deals with the data itself, and the delegate protocol typically deals with the delegate. Okay, so I just wanted to give you guys a brief overview. I think that's going to be it for this video. So this has been another iOS tutorial.